What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, on this channel we explore tips, strategies, and experiences that I have had that will help you start and build up your Amazon FBA wholesale business. In this video, we are going to be covering everything that you need to know about and prepare for Q4 of 2020. We're going to dive into some great content, and I'm going to leave you guys with some tangible and actionable steps that you can take in order to be prepared for Q4 and maximize your sales during this holiday season. Before we get into it, if you guys do enjoy these videos, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button and notification bell if you want to stay up to date on all of the wholesale content that I will be putting out. Let's jump right into it. So I want to start this video by giving you guys a bit of a perspective on Amazon's sales history. So in this year, 2020, go back to Q2, Amazon had a 44% increase in North American sales on their platform during Q2. From an overall standpoint globally, they had a 33% increase in sales. So this is a huge spike in sales compared to the rest of the year. And why did this happen? So this happened because of the coronavirus pandemic. Everyone transitioned their activities to buying online instead of going in stores. So there was a huge influx of people who would not have purchased items in certain categories such as groceries or medical supplies, now purchasing them on Amazon. That is the main reason that we saw this exponential spike in sales during Q2. Rewind back to 2018, Amazon did over $44 billion worth of sales in Q4 alone. In 2019, Amazon did over $54 billion in that year. So what does this mean? So in Q4, for third-party sellers on Amazon or any retail seller in general, Q4 are the best months out of the year. October, November, December. So Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the days leading up to Christmas, we can see an exponential increase in sales. So it's not just a big confusion about Q4 is that just toys do very well, which they do extremely well, but a lot of products in a whole bunch of different kinds of categories spike during Q4. And I'm going to break down some steps that you need to take in order to prepare your business to maximize your sales during Q4. So what can we expect this Q4? Well, with the coronavirus pandemic paired up with Q4, we can see unprecedented sales this year. So we're transitioning into a quarter that's going to be never before seen. Normally in Q4, sales spike as it is, and now we are going into Q4 during a time of a pandemic, which is going to drastically impact you as a seller. Step number one is going to be to narrow down your business model. What business model are you doing? Are you doing wholesale? Are you doing retail arbitrage? Are you a private label seller? So we need to determine what business model that we are utilizing on Amazon, one or multiple. I will tell you guys that I actually am going to be doing some retail arbitrage during Q4. While you guys know my main business model is wholesale, and I do believe that wholesale is the most sustainable business model on Amazon as well as private label, but I have talked about in past videos that wholesale is much more sustainable than retail arbitrage. I am looking to add some profitable inventory through retail arbitrage because the model can be so lucrative during the days leading up to Christmas and Black Friday. So I do plan on doing some retail arbitrage during this time, but my main business model is wholesale. Once you have your business model down, you now need to manage your inventory. So what this means is that you need to take into account two main factors. One is the lead time and check-in time that it takes for Amazon to check your inventory in once you send it into their warehouse, which right now for small parcel shipments, we could be looking at over a month. For LTL pallet loads, we could be looking at 1 month, 2 months, possibly even 3 months to fully check in inventory. So it is taking quite a bit of time for Amazon to check inventory in. And I will touch on this a little bit later in another one of my points when we transition over to merchant fulfilled versus Amazon fulfilled. So that's a key point that we have to consider. Another key point is the lead time from our supplier. A lot of companies that I'm working with right now are working under a skeleton crew because they don't have the proper staff, they can't get the proper parts for the inventory because of the pandemic. And what this is creating is it's creating a shortage of inventory for me and other wholesalers. We need to notify our suppliers ahead of time. Going back, I will rewind a little bit. I actually notified one of my suppliers for a large order that I plan to place in the coming months. I notified them of this in July. Why did I do this? Because the product performed significantly better during and because of Q4. How do I know that? And when I have not had the product for a full year. So last year I didn't sell the product, I didn't have the wholesale account, but I know that the product is going to perform very well this Q4. I am skilled at analyzing the Keepa graph. And guys, if you don't know, the Keepa graph is your absolute Bible for buying decisions. So when and before you make buying decisions, you have to look at your Keepa graph, especially as it relates to Q4, and determine the spike in sales. And if there is a spike, how much is this spike during those months? Guys, that's really important. Manage your inventory in terms of your lead time, account for shipping to Amazon FBA, and account for the inability to acquire the proper inventory that you need from your supplier. Another thing to take into account is Amazon's new restock limitation. On a lot of SKUs that I have, Amazon has limited the number of units that I could send in to a maximum quantity of 200. What this means is that maybe I was planning on sending in 1,000 units this Q4. I can no longer do that. There's been a lot of changes on Amazon in the past months that we really have to weigh all of our options and mitigate risk in terms of different factors that have limited our ability to get sales. So going along with notifying your suppliers ahead of time is making sure not only you have the proper inventory on hand, but if you do prepping in-house, you want to have the proper supplies on hand. So you want to have tape, boxes, poly bags, bubble wrap, all of these necessary supplies well before November so that you are able to possibly fulfill merchant orders and you are able to get out your FBA orders. So this leads me into my next point, and what we may see during this Q4 is an exponential increase of merchant fulfilled inventory. This is because Amazon's extremely long time of shipping to customers, and we may be reverting back to what we saw in March during Q2 of this year when the coronavirus first broke out and Amazon was limiting the amount of inventory that you could send in, and they were actually only allowing essential items in their warehouse for a brief period of time. What this means is that we need to get really efficient and maximize our processes at merchant fulfilling inventory, because you might actually be able to get products to customers faster than Amazon could. Going back to the category point that I addressed earlier, is that in Q4, we know that toys spike in sales. So toys that normally might not sell or might not sell for much profit at all might sell during Q4 for a substantial more amount of profit than they normally would have because of that increase in demand. So what that means is that we need to abide by a certain policy that Amazon put out, and they put this policy out every year. So in order to merchant fulfill inventory and sell in the toys and games category during Q4, you have to fulfill a specific requirement. This requirement is that between the end of August and the end of or middle of October, I don't have the exact date offhand, but I will post that in the description below. Between those few months, you have to fulfill a minimum of 25 merchant fulfill orders in order to be eligible at all to sell toys and games during Q4. So it's really important that you guys are able to do this in order to maximize your profitability and maximize your sales during the holiday season. So we have to fulfill through yourself, not through FBA, through merchant fulfilled, and minimum of 25 orders. So why does Amazon do this? They want to make sure that you are equipped and properly able to fulfill orders on time with quality and certainty to customers. So that's one thing that Amazon does require you to do. They do it every year, so it's really important that you guys do fulfill that requirement so that you don't limit your opportunity during this holiday season. The final point that I want to mention and leave you guys with is the importance of diversifying across several different categories. So we want to sell products that do extremely well during Q4, but at the same time, we don't want to overlook products that might do well during Q4. And what I mean by this is might do well, meaning the new landscape may create a gap and an increase in demand that normally would not have been there. So what we saw during Q2 of this year is that Amazon, they had a 160% increase in grocery sales. So people are now shopping for their necessities online. So during the holiday season, we are going to see an exponential increase in the grocery category. This is something to very much consider. So not only are we trying to exploit non-essential items that consumers drastically demand, but we're also trying to exploit essential items as well so that you are able to maximize your sales during this holiday season. So a really important point, guys, that I wanted to leave you with, and I hope this video helped you guys understand and gave you some actionable steps that you can take and some pointers on what you actually need to do in order to maximize your sales during Q4. It's really important. Actually, the statistic is that most retail stores and third-party sellers on Amazon, they do about 50% of their annual revenue during October, November, December. So 50% of your entire year's revenue actually comes from those 3 months out of the year. So that's a huge, staggering statistic. Not only that, Amazon did $280 billion in sales last year, and third-party sellers made up half of that sales velocity. So third-party sellers, whether you're a small startup entrepreneur or a huge brand company and everything in between, third-party sellers are a huge portions of Amazon's sales velocity. And what does that mean? It means there is a ton of opportunity in this business, especially during Q4. So for those of you who are saying it's too late for me to start on Amazon, I could not disagree more. Right now, if you start your business right now, you are entering a time that is completely unprecedented with way more opportunity than there has ever been. Why is this? Because of COVID-19 and Q4 coming up, we are combining those two together, and there is going to be an extreme increase in demand and an extreme shortage of supply on multiple different levels, on manufacturing levels, a whole host of different factors. There's going to be a shortage of supply, guys. Sellers like me, we can't keep inventory in stock, so we have to adjust our processes and make sure that we notify our suppliers ahead of time in order to get that inventory in and have the proper inventory on hand. If you can't obtain inventory or get your hands on inventory, you are not alone. It is normal. Just make sure we are closing the accounts that we are able to get our hands on that inventory. So let's say, for instance, if you close an account and they're back ordered for 3 months, I would direct your energy to an account where you can actually buy inventory, because that is the lifeblood of this business model, especially during Q4. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope that helps you understand a little bit more about Q4 and what you actually need to do to prepare. I will post the actual description below on Amazon's requirements for the holiday selling requirements in the toys and games category, because I do think that is really important for you guys to know. So I will post the specific requirements that you need to follow underneath in the description. So if you guys have any questions on that, drop a comment down below. If you enjoy these videos, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button and notification bell if you want to stay up to date on all of the wholesale content that I will be putting out. Thank you guys so much. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you next time.